Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to Matt Talk with KOC and Coach. I'm Coach and KOC. Unfortunately, today he's out on another mission. Today, guys and girls, today, people, we are really, really blessed. I call ourselves blessed. I call ourselves very, very fortunate to have a man here, a man of prestige. You guys may know him as the first African American football coach at Gaffney High School. I know him as Donnie Littlejohn. And today, we're going to get to know Donnie. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Donnie Littlejohn.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me here, buddy.
Absolutely, absolutely, Donnie. Me and you was chit chatting the other day, right? And just regular old Gaffney talk. For those away from Gaffney, you got an east side town, and west side town. And I mentioned you know, Donnie, I don't even know what side of town you grew up on. I automatically assumed that you grew up on the west side of town, but you very, very quickly corrected me. No, I grew up on the east side. Tell me about your upbringing. Tell me about who you grew up with, what that looked like for you.
Well, I did grow up on the east side of town. My parents and I lived right off Hetty Hill Street, right across the bridge. My dad still lives there today. I went to elementary school at Draytonville Elementary. You know, I was a mountaineer. From there, the first year at what is now Johnny Ewing Middle School, I was one part of the first seventh grade group that went there. So when the name was changed to Ewing Junior High at the time, and then from there I went to Gaffney High School. Um, Hung out with a lot of people. You know, my best friends, I guess, from the east side, I would consider to be Dominic Stevenson and Travis Smith. Travis Peanut Smith, we're cousins. Spent a lot of time with him growing up. Mal Dawkins. My cousins stayed on that side, and they stayed right off Dogwood, so I hung out with them a bunch. Michael Knuckles was a guy I spent a lot of time with growing up. Um, yeah, on the east side.
Absolutely. Anyone who's known you for a half a breath in 3 minutes, they know how much your family, your faith means to you. And if they've known you for more than a few months, they know how much your mother meant to you and how inspirational she was, instrumental she was to your upbringing and who you are today as a man. Talk to me a little bit about your support system, coming back all the way back from your mother to where it is today. Who does that include?
Well, I was asked this question on yesterday in another interview, and there's a ton of people. I was extremely blessed growing up to have a lot of people pour into my life, and so you know, I got to naming people yesterday, and when I got off the air, I was like, dang, I forgot about this person and this person and this person. There was a ton of people that helped me get to where I am today. Yet my mother, the late Eleanor Montgomery Littlejohn, she passed away back in 2012 on Mother's Day. She was very, very influential in who I am and, you know, the type of man that she helped me develop to be. And a lot of times I often wonder, I hope she's proud. That can be a touchy subject. And then, of course, my dad, he's Donnie Littlejohn. He's a deacon at Mount Tabor Baptist Church. You know, he played football at Gaffney High and was a superstar apparently, and it's been tough living in his shadows. You know, if I hear one more time, your dad was all world, your dad was this, I get it. I know he was a pretty good football player. One of the ladies the other day at the game actually thought he was the one that had been named head coach, and I was like, nah, he's barely making it. I don't know if he's going to walk any football fields here anytime soon. But of course, people like Pick Dawkins, who's my godfather, my mom's best friend, who was my godmother, Donna Tate, her husband Wallace, of course, Pick's wife Brenda. You know, they had a lot to do with you know me growing up. My mom, she is one of 12 siblings.
Wow.
My grandmother has 50 grandchildren, or 51st. I have 51st cousins on my grandmother's side. And so, of course, with Montgomery's,
Wow.
of course, they had a huge impact. I tell them all the time that I have the best family in the world. You know, I'm blessed. I'm super blessed. We are an extremely tight, knit group of people. Now, my dad's side, he was one of 9 children. I think my grandmother had 35 first cousins or 35 grandkids from that side of the family. And there, I'm extremely blessed. You know, I got Teresa Mormon and Vincent Littlejohn and Missy She was Missy Wheeler. She still may be Missy Wheeler now. Those are some of my cousins. Anthony Wheeler. I've been around football people my entire life and had big shoes to fill from that aspect. Tim Montgomery is one of my first cousins, and I've just been blessed to be around people that have poured into me and who have loved me and who have pushed me to be the person I am.
Absolutely, absolutely. You Me and you had spoke briefly before, and having worked. Let me back up a little. I originally, I guess, officially met Donnie working at Gaffney High School. I started out substitute teaching, then I became in-school suspension, later on graduation coach. I had the opportunity to work with you, I think, for probably 10 plus years. A heck of a run. And I count myself blessed because of that, because the perception that I had of a lot of adults in the building was that of the community. And I didn't know them individually. And it wasn't until I got in there and got to know you guys. Actually got to work with you the year you was a senior administrator. That was a year. But we made it happen. But oftentimes we look at our students and we look at the track that they're going to take next. And it's always that underlying tone of show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Um, Before we transitioned from Gaffney High School football as it was when you came through and played, you've been a student athlete. Speak to that, the importance of having good, solid, responsible friends and allowing that to be a part of your moral compass that guides you versus picking the wrong friends and what that could lead you to.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna give a shout out to Coach here. I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings, but not only was he a graduation coach, but he's probably the best graduation coach we've ever had. And that's just it is what it is. I hope nobody's feelings gets hurt, but it's the truth. I've been there a long time and worked, and I know the work and the results that you got. And it's been very hard to duplicate those results since you left. So that's a plus to you and all your hard work and what you've done and what you meant to Gaffney High School during your time as the graduation coach. But I was fortunate to play on, I guess Gaffney football is like a brotherhood. And, even to this day, the players that I played with, some of them they grew from just being acquaintances to players, and then a couple of them are even like one of my best friends is Joe Littlejohn, and our relationship started. He went to Grenard, and it started as a football player, but it's morphed into he's one of my best friends in Gaffney at this time. And then I played with people like Kerry Posey, who we were really tight with, and I'm still tight with. I consider Kerry a brother of mine. He graduated with me. We played football together. Lincoln Jeffries, Greg Price and TJ Paris. I still see those guys in town from time to time. It's funny, their kids are coming through the high school, or we have kids that are in elementary, or we running around in the same circle, and you still build off of those relationships, and they still mean stuff and have a meaning from the time you spent with them playing football. So football does a whole lot for you. It did a whole lot for me because I loved the game and got to play. I earned a scholarship to Furman University. I never forget Coach Montgomery calling me in his office and said, "Hey, you're gonna go visit Furman University this weekend. And they're probably gonna offer you a scholarship." And I was naive at the time, and just I didn't really realize that they're gonna pay you to go to school and do something you love. So I was all in. It never was about getting a number of scholarships. I went to Furman. My mom fell in love with it. She pretty much told me that's where you're going, and I was going for free. So football helped me to even take the next step after high school, and Furman is where I met my wife. And so, of course, that changed the trajectory of my life. And football has just been great. And if you love the game and you put your all into it and do what you're supposed to, you learn life lessons that will help you develop and hopefully help you be the best man that you can be. But you can also be rewarded by getting your education paid for. I try to encourage our players that the scholarship can't be the end result, or it can't be the goal, because if that's the goal and you don't get one, you feel like a failure. I think you've got to go into playing football and and value the brotherhood and value the life lessons that you get. Value the toughness and the competitiveness and, winning and representing your town and giving it your all. And if you get a scholarship, then that's a bonus.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of lessons that you can learn from football that really will, translate to the workforce, to translate to, if you go to school and you're not playing football, the lessons you learn on the field and participating in athletics can be a great foundation for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to bounce back over there to the student athlete in just a second here, Donnie. Talk to us about your time at Furman, becoming the process of becoming a Furman Paladin, and how was college that freshman year, the first time you were on campus? I'm quite sure you can always. For me, I always remember the first day I touched campus, and I always remember graduation. And there's a lot of life that happens in between there. So how was life at Furman University, where you became a captain?
Well, going to Furman was kind of a life changing experience for me. You talked about friends. I'm going to come back to that, but my god brother got married, I guess 3 years ago, and we took a trip to Houston for his bachelor party. And at that time, I learned that they kept me on a lot of stuff because they saw the potential and just felt like I was a different person. I think they kept me out of stuff because they knew I couldn't keep a secret. But they kept me out of stuff, and I didn't participate in some of the foolishness that they kind of did because they felt like that, or this is what they said. They felt like that I would, I could go ahead and go on and be maybe somebody that could come back and help the community grow. So they kind of just and that means a lot to me thinking about it now that they thought enough of me to not include me in some of the foolishness and shenanigans that they were involved in. Some people would look at that as not being a true friend, but I think that's the ultimate measure of a friend.
Absolutely.
To put somebody else's well-being and their future ahead of theirs, so that you won't make a mistake. And I think kids need that now. They need somebody. You need friends that are gonna protect you and keep you out of trouble. And that was Michael Tate and Dominique. Mike's my god brother, and of course Dominique Stevens is my ride or die guy. He's my guy. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. He's my guy.
Absolutely.
But we go back to Furman. I graduated from Gaffney High School in '97 and went on to play at Furman from, I guess, '98 until 2001. And that was a tremendous time for me at Furman. I was surrounded by a great group of guys that were on the football team and just at Furman at that time. And, four of the guys to this day, or really five of the guys, or six of the guys to this day, I talk to on a regular basis.
Awesome.
I got three guys that live in Atlanta that are my support system. They're my rock. They're my foundation. They push me to be a better man every single day. And you need those guys who are not going to let you sulk. They're not going to let you whine. They're not going to accept you being mediocre. They're going to always be there to push you and tell you, hey, bro, you can do this. I don't really want to hear the excuses. Get it done. And that's the group that I got. And I tell them all the time they're my heroes because they won't let me not do. When I am feeling down or feeling, sad or, tired, weary, whatever the feelings be, those guys are there to either push me or hold me up until I can carry myself. And so I thank them guys on a regular basis, and I appreciate them a whole lot. But I came through at a time at Furman where, I was surrounded by a great support cast I guess I was a part of the support cast, but I was surrounded by a cast of guys who were driven. I think at that time we won 2 Southern Conference championships, and we actually played for a national championship during that time. And that's a testament to the guys that I had the pleasure of playing with.
Absolutely. Mind if we dive into the football talk?
Absolutely.
Okay. Comes from where we come from, right? One of the things that we definitely have in common that we had shared responsibility of was the athletes, the students, not only just the students, but the student athletes themselves. Outside looking in, there's always been a rhetoric of Gaffney High School football not doing enough for the students to to get them to college and get them the next offer or whatever it may be. But what me, you, and many others do know that the student and their academics is a shared responsibility, primarily between the student, the teacher, and the parent. And in that midst, the coach comes into play, but nowhere near to the extent of the student, the teacher, and the parent. Talk about the importance of that cohesion in order to make the system, to make it work, so that student, when he comes out of high school or when he's in his junior, senior year, he's out there on the field balling out, he can have those conversations.
Well, going through this process, it was made painfully aware to me that people just don't have the correct information. I've lived it for the last 22 years. I know the issues that come along with Gaffney High School in general and Gaffney football. Um, and I consider myself an expert because I have literally, that's all I've done for the last 22 years. We just had a group of guys to sign this past Wednesday, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think this was one of the biggest recruiting classes in this area for this year. But what people don't know is it's always like that at Gaffney. We send our guys go and they go to college, and whether they stay or not, that's a different conversation. And I think there's some different issues that go along with that. But they always had an opportunity to go and better themselves at the next level. What was made painfully aware to me was that we don't promote it the way that we need to promote it, primarily because we are people, and I'm including myself in this. We just do stuff because it's the right thing to do. We don't do stuff to get patted on the back. And I'm having to learn that that's part of it. You have to put it out there. You have to tell your story. So as a head coach, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that the correct information is out there when it comes to Gaffney football and Gaffney High School. Now, all I can do is give you the facts. I can't change or I can't determine how you read the facts. The facts are that, this was one of the biggest recruiting classes in this area. We have 12 kids. Well, we have 10 right now that have signed letter of intent, and 2 are already playing at the next level. Last year at this time, we had 3 playing at the next level. Like it's always been that, we send kids out, but we just hadn't promoted it like we need to. We got 2 more that's probably going to sign in the next couple of weeks. But there really isn't a problem when it comes to academics and scholarships and all that. Now, what I will say is, as a school and as a community, we have to change the way we view scholarships. The recruiting process has changed tremendously. It's changed with the portal and how we view stuff and how we do stuff. And so I think that message has to be put out there. And I'll use Limestone College as an example. When kids offer a scholarship in Limestone, the common belief is, hey, that's a little school. That's a why would you go to Limestone? But the truth of the matter is, every student athlete that's on that football team at Limestone was the best athlete from wherever they came from.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as a scrub team or a scrub whatever. Now, scholarships, they're rare, and the mindset has changed with the portal and all that good stuff. So that's a message that's going to have to change when it comes to recruiting now. We're going to have to work extremely hard, and we're going to have to make sure that our parents and our players in this community are appreciative of any opportunity that is extended to any athlete. You got to be grateful for that.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Donnie. That's one of the things I always appreciated about you, is that if you want to answer, ask questions.
Yeah, and part of the problem is people won't come ask questions. They make assumptions, and we have to go with it. And I plan on having an open door policy. Now, if you don't know me, I will always be polite. I will always be nice. I will always do the right thing. But what I won't do is always tell you what you want to hear. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Absolutely.
So if you come, just know you're gonna get the truth in return. And of course, I'm never. People say I'm not confrontational. I'm not. But I'm just not a naysayer either. I'm gonna tell you the truth and hopefully back up whatever I'm telling you.
Absolutely. And that you have definitely done at a very high and a very consistent level. You're about to enter your 23rd year. 23rd year of coaching high school ball. Man, wow. Coming out of high school, coming out of college and coming back home to Gaffney and getting that first opportunity to coach football at Gaffney High School. It's one thing to coach football somewhere else, but it is a whole nother thing in itself to get the opportunity to be and do what you've done heading into 23 seasons.
Well, I told the story yesterday also. I never had intention to come back here, Coach. I'm like everybody else. Once you get out of Gaffney, I don't want to be here. I want to go somewhere fast paced or do something. And I went to Furman and fell in love with Greenville. So the plan was to live in Greenville and coach somewhere else. But you want to make God laugh. You tell God drill plans and see what He says. So when I graduated from Furman, I was going out, had some connections through Furman football and some people I met in college, and then it was putting me in front of people and talking, and everybody was excited. But Dr. Mary Jones, she was very influential in my upbringing. She's the minister of music at Shady Grove, where I grew up. I sung on the praise singers and did all that stuff, and so she had a huge hand in who I am and helping me. But she called me and said, "Hey, you wanna teach summer school?" And I was like, "Dr. Jones or Miss Jones at the time, I don't know if I can teach summer school." She said, "Son, you graduated from Furman. You can definitely teach algebra 1." Oh, I got that. I can handle algebra 1. And she was like, "Yeah, it pays $25 an hour." I was like, "Bet. I'm in. Yeah, I'm coming. What I gotta do?" She says, "Well, you're gonna teach from 8 to 1 every day, Monday through Thursday, and it's a 6-week deal. Oh, I can come here for 6 weeks and do whatever I need to do. You got to come by the district office and sign some papers." So I go by the district office and I'm standing there with some cut-off jeans on and some flip-flops and a t-shirt, talking to the receptionist. And the superintendent at the time, who was Dr. Bill James, came out and saw me. And he was like, "Son, what are you doing?" And I kind of said, "Hey, I'm, here to sign some papers." He was like, "Aren't you Donnie Littlejohn?" I was like, "Yes, sir." He was like, "Can you come back and see me in about an hour?" So I was like, "All right, I don't know what this is about." Get in the car. First person to call was Mama. Mama, guess what happened? And of course, she chewed me out because I wasn't presentable. In her mind, she made me go home, change clothes. You put on something nice and neat. You represent me. You don't come out of the house looking like that. "Mama, I'm just going to sign some papers." Well, that's unacceptable. So I rush home, change clothes, go back. We're sitting there, and he, asked me my plans. I kind of told him. It was like, "Well, look, we want you to come and coach at Gaffney and work at Gaffney." Now, he said, "Would you consider it?" I was like, "I guess so." And he yells at his secretary. She goes out, comes back, brings me a contract. I kind of signed on. I never applied. Had never had any intention of doing that.
Did you read it?
No, I didn't. It didn't matter. I had a job. And so he said, "Listen, you'll meet with Dr. Moore," which she was Quincy Little when I was in school. She was my assistant principal. "You'll meet with her next week." So I go and sit down with her, and that's kind of how that journey began. I was part of Coach Jones. I met Coach Montgomery's staff for 1 year, and we went 2-9 that year, and was fired in December because he left and had to re-interview with Coach Strickland, and my role kind of changed. I became the JV head coach for 4 years, and a varsity assistant to a co-coordinator to a coordinator on the football side, and on the day job side, I was a PE teacher for 5 years, an administrative assistant for I think 4 years, and then an assistant principal from 2011 to January this year. And so I kind of was growing on both sides and couldn't really decide what I want to do. I just know I'm kind of goal oriented, and I don't want to be in a box or made to stay still. And so I took it as a challenge to do both jobs, and I tried to do both jobs well. So,
given the opportunity, I'm quite sure that several opportunities have come across your desk, come across your email, or across your phone, with potential opportunities to go and obtain a head coaching job elsewhere. My gosh, you're about to end your 23rd season, and you was an offense coordinator for a good while. We're talking, been to 6 state championships.
14 years. I was coordinator for 14 years, and if you include co-coordinator, it's been 16 years. And yeah, I played in. I coached in 6 state championships, and we won 5. We lost the one in 2011. Who the people of Gaffney will never let us forget. Uh, we won 2 since then, but we still somehow get back to 2011. You just got to be appreciative of the opportunity you get. But yeah, I have, been offered some jobs. But for me, I'm an all in or all out type of person. And that's not something I'm proud of. That's just who I am. Either I'm all in or I'm not in at all. And for me, it's never been about a job, but it's been about this job. It's been about doing what's best for this community and making a difference in a place that I call home, and it's helped me to become who I am. During the committee, I was asked, what is your why? And I had to figure out what is my why. And the reality of it is my why is that I never had anybody like me when I came through. I had my first, there was people around. There was Dr. Harris, who was the principal. Dr. Ross was the superintendent at the time. So I'm not saying that there was not examples of Mr. Cleveland was an assistant principal and the coach. I'm not saying there were not examples of people who looked like me, but there was very few that I got to interact with. I had my first black teacher when I was in the 4th grade, Miss Sue Johnson, who had a huge impact on me. She saw stuff in me that I didn't see in myself, and she never let me be mediocre. I had my first black male teacher when I was in 11th grade, and that was Mr. Clint McClary. And those are the 2 I had. You know what I'm saying?
Coach Matt was the first black male teacher I've had.
And I know that Mr. Watkins, I think, taught math at Ewing at some point. I don't know how I crossed his path, but he was there too. I think his name was Mr. Watkins.
Yeah, Joe Watkins.
I think it was. And he
math teacher.
Yes. I'm not sure if I was in his class or if he just helped me when I was struggling with some math at some time. But those are the extent of, the black educators that I had that were, I was directly in their class or involved. And so, that kind of, when you go 12 years in a place, or, 13 if you count kindergarten, whatever, and you two. So I wanted to give, once I started coaching and got back, I wanted people not to experience that. I wanted to be me to somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
I wanted them to have somebody they feel like they can talk to and come to and get advice and feel safe and okay to talk to. But I quickly realized that that's a lot to take on whenever you are, the only. For a long time, I was the only black guy on the staff. I was one of, 5 black teachers at the high school. Now, since then, that's changed, and that's, I'm extremely excited about that. But, for a little while, that's all we had. And that's just a testament to how Gaffney has changed and how it's evolved and how it's grown. We still got a long way to go. But we are heading in the right direction, in my opinion, and we are making strides. So it's never been about a job, but it's been about this job.
Mm.
So, I'm excited about it.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining in with Matt Talk with KOC and Coach. This is Pastor Ricky Surratt, Innovation Point. We want you to know that we are a church that welcomes you to come and be a part of any one of our services, specifically Sundays at 10 a.m. And we have a Wednesday Bible Life Study that happens each week at 6:30 p.m. We are here to give you hope again. Our mantra is, we are the place where hope is renewed. So you're more than welcome to join us each and every time the doors open. Our address is 345 East Floyd Baker Boulevard, right here in Gaffney, South Carolina. Again, my name is Ricky Surratt. Thank you for joining in. Hope to see you soon.
Excited about it.
Absolutely. You are one of one. Right here, right now, you are definitely one of one. You're the head football coach of the Gaffney Indians. Head football coach of the Gaffney Indians, Donnie Littlejohn. When you hear that, you know that you're sitting in the office, you're sitting in the desk. Is it surreal? Has it hit you yet?
Now it's been 3 weeks, and it's been a busy 3 weeks, but I am extremely humble and grateful for this opportunity. Um, I've tried to do what's right. I've tried to, you know, I realize you interview every day when you're in a place. And so I've tried to do what I can to be the best version of myself daily for the last 22 years. Now, I've come up short some days. One of the things that the people at the high school will tell you, I wear my emotions on my sleeve.
Indeed.
And that's just who I am. I'm trying to work on that. But I am extremely humble and grateful and excited about this opportunity. I understand the importance of this moment, and it's a little pressure. And somebody told me last night, don't put all this pressure on you. Just do you. But you understand that there's people that came before you that did a whole lot for me to get to where I am.
Indeed.
I do understand that. I'm sitting in this chair, but there was a lot of people that fought and pushed and clawed and knock down barriers and doors for me to get here. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm extremely humble. But in the same time, in the same token, at the same time, I want to make sure that I make those people proud and honor them by being the best version I can be and doing what I can. So I've decided the only thing I can do is first of all do what's right. Do what's right by the players, do what's right by the coaches, do what's right by the school and by this community. And sometimes doing what's right isn't easy. You got to do what's right. I'm going to surround the players by men of faith and passion and discipline and character, integrity. I think that's super important to hire coaches based on those qualities. This Gaffney, we got athletes. If you can't coach, I can help you coach. You know what I'm saying? But what I can't do is, make you a good person.
Absolutely.
So the good person has to be part of the foundation because we have athletes that, for a lack of better words, may not be exposed to all the good qualities that they need to be exposed to. So we have to provide that for these guys. And if I'm asking a kid to be, disciplined and have integrity, do the right thing when people are not looking, have some character about yourself, carry yourself in a way where you want people. This is something my mama used to tell me. You want people to be like you, you not be like other people. You have to put people in front of them that look like that.
Absolutely.
And faith is huge in my life. It's always been. I always have known and felt that God had a plan for me. I've always been willing to walk in His plan, and I think it's extremely important for us to introduce Christ to these guys.
Mm.
All I can do is introduce Him to you. You got to decide if you choose to follow. And so the way you do that is, in my opinion, the way you live your life.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can read the Bible and you can do all that and smack them over the head with scripture, whatever. But if they don't see you loving your fellow man, if they don't see your servant heart, if they don't see you making sacrifices for something for a greater good, if they don't see you put other people's interests first, you know, demonstrating the Christ-like qualities that He did for us. If they don't see that, it's kind of hard for them to understand what that looks like. So the whole faith part is extremely important to me. And I feel like at this time we have a staff that exemplifies everything I just said. They're passionate about the game. They're disciplined. They are great men of character and integrity, and they have tremendous faith. They know that there's a higher power. They know there's a God, and that He put them on this planet to pour into these guys. One thing I made very clear from the get go is we can't be 9 to 5 coaches because and not be effective with the kids that we have. We have to be 24/7. You have to balance that because we also have families that we have to go home to and we have to support and we have to love and we have to be there for. And family is first. And I wanted an environment where the family can come and be a part of it. I'm going through the process now of interviewing every coach and deciding who's going to stay and who ain't going to stay. There's going to be some changes, but that's part of it. I want them to feel, a family-oriented place. I want them to be able to bring their children and their children enjoy it. But we got to clean some stuff up if we're going to do it, because I don't think it's fair for, my 8-year-old and my 5-year-old to be there and have to listen, be exposed to some of the stuff that they've been exposed to. That's going to be a process, and we'll get there. But again, I think it's important to surround these guys with those qualities and stuff like that.
Absolutely. You cannot underestimate or even overestimate the importance of a caring adult, especially when a caring adult like you looks like the individual who's been spoken of. Really, I'm listening to you, and it's almost hard to interview and not associate things that I've seen in life to the conversations you're having. That wow, I never really gave it a lot of thought of how much it meant to me to later in life to be able to go in Clint McClary's art class and have that man standing in front of us with the biggest smile in the world. At that time, I thought he was like the most successful black man I knew.
You can make a case that he was, but I had Dr. Ross too. I don't want to discount him and what he used to do, because my mom, she didn't play when it came to grades. So Beta Club installations, he was going to be there, and the honor roll and awards days and stuff like that. Dr. Ross was always present. He used to always say, "You my hero when I grow up." The short guy. When I grow up, I want to be just like you. Not understanding that he was pouring into me, and he was a fantastic role model. And of course, Mr. McClary, I cannot speak on the character. I can't do justice on what kind of man he is. It's just unbelievable. And he navigated, and he made it look so easy.
I think you said it best.
He made it look so easy.
I think you said it best, Donnie, when you said you just mentioned and you basically said sometimes the only Christ that people see in us is through us.
Yes.
In our actions.
Yes.
Right. It's through us, not actions. Coach McClary, man, that guy there, we could talk. We can do a whole.
You can do a whole week or month on how Mr. McClary has changed the trajectory of so many black men and just people in Cherokee County.
Absolutely.
You can really sit down and just talk about and just his character and how the way he carried himself, his smile, the way he pushed you. He never ever accepted, mediocrity. He just didn't. He would not entertain it. He didn't entertain it with his players. I had him for broadcast journalism.
Okay.
I didn't even have him for art. And I people that know me know that what I'm doing now this is not a comfortable environment for me. I just know I got to do it. It comes with the territory. But the reality of it is, it started with him. He was the first person to put me in front of a mic and say, "Hey, you're going to do the news." It took almost a semester for that to happen. I was behind the scenes. I'm the camera guy. I'm gonna do the transition effects. I'm gonna do all that. But I'm not getting on this microphone or on this TV and letting it be broadcast throughout the school. And he would say, "Hey, before the end of the year, it's going to happen." Now, that's non-negotiable. Your timeline and you feeling comfortable and us getting you there, now we can work on that. And we did so many mock runs and trials, and he was so patient with me. But he was the first person that actually put me in front of a microphone and said, "Hey, you're going to do this one day, so you better get used to it." And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that has Clint McClary stories. I know I'm not the only one that has Clint McClary stories.
Because Clint McClary, we're having this conversation now.
Exactly. And he's a Kappa, and he was an assistant principal at one time, and it's like I almost followed in his footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, I say Kappas are born and not made. And just watching him and seeing the principles and the objectives of KSI being demonstrated through him in his life, I can't even just. I would, how Chadwick Boseman says. Without Denzel Washington, there would be no Black Panther. Without Clint McClary, there would be no Donnie Littlejohn. I really feel that way.
Hands down, without Clint McClary, there definitely wouldn't be a Daniel Foster. And that's just really just hats off to a God-fearing man. I cannot tell you a time that me and Mr. McCleary ever had a conversation about religion. We've had a lot of conversation about life. He was the first individual to instill in me athletic confidence. I never forget my senior year running track and field and being out there. And after the first practice, we did some time things. And he looked at me. He said, "I don't know what you've done this summer, but man, you got the prettiest stride ever." And just because Clint said it,
It was law.
it's law.
It meant something.
It's God.
And I didn't even know Mr. McCleary he coached track. I'm just finding out something new about him. I didn't even know he coached track at the time.
Exactly. Right.
But you're right. He said it, and you know, people like that, when they make comments, I don't even know if he knew how impactful or powerful his words were when he spoke to people. Just genuine and just a great guy. So
absolutely, just man. Gotta love that guy. Gotta love that guy. Okay, pushing forward, Donnie. I'm not gonna hold you much longer. I know you are a busy man. To the viewing audience, a lot of which is going to be from Cherokee County, Gaffney, South Carolina, and everybody's curious. Donnie's been waiting for this job. He's been waiting for this job. He got it. The community is super freaking excited for you. What does your plan and your vision look like? I know you're in the early phases of it, but in broad strokes, your overall core belief and vision for our student athlete, be it academic, be it athletics, be it in the community. What should we expect?
Well, I've summed it up to the players by saying this. All right. We are going to get the very best we can get out of them. And we're going to get the very best in the classroom. We're going to get the very best in the weight room. We're going to get the very best on the field. And we're going to get the very best in the community. Now, it's going to take a little time for that to sink in for them, but they're going to understand. And I hope the parents understand that we're going to get the best from them. We're not going to accept anything less than their best. All right. Now, an A sometimes for people don't equate their best. You know, some people get an A easily. That don't mean you're getting the best for them. You know, some people's best is a C. A starter, just because you start doesn't mean that we're getting the best. We're going to get the best, and we're going to push these kids as hard as we can push them. But in order for that to happen, then I got to get the very best from every coach on the staff. If you're involved with Gaffney in football, then I need you to bring me your A game. And you have to be, you know, I'm not stealing from Clemson, but I've kind of used this. I need you all in.
All in.
If you're not all in, then we're going to have to find somebody that is all in. Because let's be honest, this is a prestigious place to work. It's a prestigious place to coach. There is nothing like, you know, running out that tunnel and being on the field on Friday nights and the excitement of the crowd and, you know, just having everybody behind you. There is nothing like it. I played at the college level. I've been other places. There is nothing like Gaffney football when it comes to that. But on the other side, you know, we have a responsibility to produce good men. But we're also not getting the same kid in every situation, meaning they're coming from different environments and we have to meet them where they are. And so until the expectation is set, I can't hold them responsible for something they don't know. And also, you know, the science says, and I get it, you know, we want straight-laced kids and them to do what's right all the time and, you know, whatever. Science says that their brains are not fully developed, so they're supposed to make mistakes right now, all right? And so we got to be careful about having judgment moments or teaching and coaching moments. You know what I'm saying? And I made it very clear that in order for me to, and this is kind of a Phil Strickland deal. This isn't me. He kind of felt like if he had the kid from 4 to 6 or 3 to 6 or 3 to 9 or whatever the hours may be for that day or that situation, then he knew where they were. You know, he had their hands on them. It's going to be very hard for me to give up on a kid. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to be, it's going to take, and there are some rules that are non-negotiable. I mean, we're not dealing with drugs. We're not doing this whole, you go out here and break the law. You know, you kind of decide for us. But, you know, we are here to grow young men, and we're here to pour them. And so, you know, they're not coming from the same situation that I came from, where, 2-parent household, and, my mom and dad, I was the only child. And, as long as I kept my grades up, the sky was the limit for me when it came to the opportunities they provided for me. If everybody was like that, then absolutely. If they are Donnie Littlejohn and he's out there doing something stupid, yes, you judge him, you throw the book at him because he was raised better. He knew right from wrong. That's not the case with some of these guys.
It's not.
And so we have to make sure that we are doing right by them because, I asked the question, how much is a kid worth? You know what I'm saying? How do you put a value on, this is enough, or they've done enough, or they've done, and it could be that one more thing that breaks through. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if Clinton Clare would have said, hey, you done something stupid, I'm writing you off. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a balance between that. And so we're going to work extremely hard to figure that part out, And I know some people are not going to get that. They're not going to understand. There's always eyes. There's always judgment. But every kid has a story, and every kid is unique, and they're all, they're kids. They're kids. So that's going to be part of it too. I'm not willing to just give up on people because nobody gave up on me. And there's some circumstances and times in my life that it could have went another way.
Totally.
It's by the grace of God that I am sitting here, and there wasn't no crazy stuff, knock on wood, that happened to me, or, I got myself in a predicament of a situation that I couldn't get myself out of. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of it too, making sure we're doing right by the young men and making sure we're pointing their lives and helping them to reach their goals and be successful. But as far as, the kid and what this community can expect from me going forward, we're going to get the best that we can get out of these young men. I tell them all the time, hey, you're going to come in the weight room, you're going to give us your best. Now, what that looks like on you, you can go over here and do every rep and, have fun and whatever, or you can go over here and cheat and cut reps or whatever, and then we're going to go outside and run, or there's going to be some kind of whatever, but we're still going to come back and get what we need to get.
Absolutely.
We're going to go out to practice on a daily basis. If it takes 10 reps, I'm looking for 10 perfect reps or 10 things to show me that you know what's going on. You can do 10 straight and we move on, or it could take us 20 to get the perfect 10. Whatever, we're going to get the best out of these young men and these kids.
Absolutely.
So,
what can the community, I hear you talking about community service. What can the community do to assist? And do you have all the opportunities to do community service the way that you want to do community service?
well, the plan is for us to do 2 huge community projects. Now, I want to do a community project centered around MLK Day because It's a day of service. Absolutely. And I think service and giving back, and that's extremely important for kids to understand. And I also like the fact that you could to partner with the Jerusalem Project to go out and and do stuff and that nature. I'm the board chairman for Habitat for Humanity. Awesome. And so I have a direct pipeline to that. We're up and running. We have a habitat community in Gaffney. We're fortunate to have that. We did some work out there, and those people are great. We got a house we're renovating now. We just built a house. So we're up and running. Just hired an executive director to run Habitat. That board started back full swing last January. And I thought we were going to crawl, but we came out the gate sprinting. So, awesome. I'm excited about the things that are going on with Habitat. But I also want each position group is going to be required to do their own community service project. And we still going to, go to schools and read and do the pet rallies and all that good stuff because we have a responsibility for the elementary kids and the middle school kids. They need to see, what good looks like and what it means to be a student athlete in Gaffney, and you can give back in that way. But it can be as little as, providing goodie bags and taking it to the nursing home, or, there's an elderly person or elderly couple on your street that you want to go and help. Each position group and their coach is going to be responsible for doing a community project. It's non-negotiable. They're going to do it. Or if you're not going to do it, then you may not do it the first year, but there's a good chance you won't be back not do it the second year. Mm-hmm. There's some stuff that has to be non-negotiable, and that's one that I feel strongly about is giving back, with Cap Alpha Psi, that's one of our big deals is, being involved in the community and trying to give. And, we do a whole lot, turkey drive, coat drive. There's a ton of ways you can give back. Picking up paper, whatever. There's no excuse for these kids not to be more involved in the community.
Absolutely.
So 2 community projects as a group, and then, of course, each position coach coming up with their own individual community project and heading that up.
Absolutely. Man, is there anything that we have not covered that you want to put out there, be it to the student athlete, be it to the community, be it to the supporting fan?
I'll just, I know that, again, I'm extremely humble and grateful for this opportunity. And I know there's some naysayers and there's some doubters out there and some haters, or whatever the case may be. I do ask that you continue, it's not about me, but continue to support Gaffney High School and Gaffney High School athletics. Don't let, your, I guess, whatever you feel about me stop you from coming out and being a great fan. There's a lot I got to work on. Just be patient with me, and it is what it is. I'm gonna give my very best, and I just ask for all the support that we can get. And if you know the word of prayer, put me on all the prayer lists you can put me on, because I'm gonna need it. I appreciate it, and I thank everybody for this opportunity. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and sit and talk today. And I would be remiss not to thank my amazing wife, Robin Brewer Littlejohn. She hyphenated the name. She wouldn't let that brewer go. But anyway, she's an amazing woman. She is the best, one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I could not do what I do without her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being everything that you've been up until this point. Thank you for works done, services rendered. And even more so, thank you in advance for everything that we know that you're going to continue to do. Thank you for sitting down and allowing us to get to know you better. There's a reason we're not talking a whole lot of ball.
Right.
With the first African American coach from the most prestigious high school football program in the state of South Carolina, 18 state championships.
Chasing 19. We're chasing 19.
Yeah, chasing 19. They ain't far off from it. About to grab that thing. Been to 6 state championships. 5-1. Donnie Littlejohn, I put your coaching stats up against anyone. I put your resume as a black man standing in the gap and giving individuals opportunities and the opportunity to dream. I put it up against anyone. And
well, it's just not only about my resume too. We got the best staff in the state of South Carolina. I mean, if you don't believe me, compare. Don't take my word for it. You do the research. We have the best staff in the state of South Carolina when it comes to coaching. So it's not always about me. I couldn't do what I do without them guys. Coach Jones couldn't do what he did without us. Coach Strickland couldn't do what he did without us. Nobody. I mean, it's a group effort. I'm just lucky to kind of, I get to sit in the chair and get some of the credit. But I absolutely could not do what I do without the coaching staff that's here at Gaffney High School. Again, who's one of the best staffs in the state of South Carolina. Hands down, no questions asked. If you don't believe me, do your research.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Donnie Littlejohn, head football coach, Gaffney Indians. Come out and support. And thank you for joining us here on Matt Talk. Till next time, Coach. Thanks again, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Always.